Hello and welcome to our webcast. Today we are talking about Tarleton's Masters of Nursing program. And I'm pleased to be joined today by the Dean of our School of Nursing, Dr. Michael Leger. And as he's going through his presentation, if you do have questions, I invite you to go ahead and submit those using the Q&A box or the chat box, and we will handle those at the end. So at this time, I will just turn things over to him.
Thank you, Dr. Ekbo. So yeah, I am Michael Leger. I am the Dean here at the School of Nursing. I've been here since July the 1st. So I still say that I'm new, and I'm going to use that adjective as long as I can. My background has been primarily in administrative roles. I have been a chief nursing officer, a DON, a VP of nursing, whatever title you want to give that to, before transitioning to academia about 12 years ago. And so this is my first time being a dean for a school of nursing. I have served in other leadership capacities in academia, and I'm excited to be a part of Tarleton. And with that, my primary role at where I came from was in the graduate program. And so I am excited about where our graduate program is going. And I want to thank you for your interest in finding out more about it. The first thing that I want to point out is our faculty, because that is truly where the knowledge comes from. We have been very, very, very blessed to have in the last several months, actually, since I've started here, we have added several doctoral prepared faculty to our roster, which is great. So you can see on the left there, I am a dean and professor here, and I do teach some of the courses in the graduate program, particularly in the nurse administration program. Dr. Lisa Otto, who is our assistant dean. Dr. Sabrina Condon is a clinical assistant professor, and she is a certified pediatric nurse practitioner. And so she is primarily responsible for our advanced health assessment, advanced patho, and advanced pharmacology classes. We've recently added Dr. Kimberly Glaser. As you can see with her credentials, she too is an advanced practice registered nurse, and she is going to be teaching also in some of our leadership courses. Dr. Kate Stevens is a new PhD to the faculty. We're excited to have her, and her background is primarily in research and pediatrics as well. And then Dr. Jana Thompson, whose background is primarily in geriatrics, but her doctoral degree is in nursing leadership. On the right side, these are the four primary adjunct instructors that we use in our graduate program. All of them have not only years in academia, but also years of experience working in administrative and nursing education roles. So we are very proud to have them in both of our admin and nurse educator tracks here at the school. So we are starting something new at the School of Nursing for the fall admission. We are moving to nursing CAS. If you know anything about nursing schools, nursing CAS is the primary source for gaining applications for those interested in both undergraduate and graduate schools of nursing around the country. And what it really does is it allows us a centralized repository that they use algorithms to determine which of those students meet our criteria and basically kind of rank them based on the information that's provided. So we enroll twice a year. We enroll both in the fall and the spring. We do not have a GRE requirement for our MSN program. You'll find that a lot of schools are really doing away with that, particularly in non-business degree types of programs. We do look for a minimum GPA of a 2.5 for the last 60 credit hours of work that you've done. And usually that 2.5 is what you needed to graduate with your bachelor's in nursing anyway. We do ask for a resume, and the reason we ask for that is because it helps us to know who the applicant is, and also what kind of experience they bring to the table, because that helps us, and when we're developing our courses semester by semester, knowing which students are coming in and with what kind of experience they have, it helps the faculty know how to direct some of their teaching on certain levels of students. You do have to be accepted to Tarleton State University if you have not already been a student here or currently a student. and you have to be accepted to the College of Graduate Studies. Now, these are separate applications from Nursing CAS. And so that is where you would find that information is on our School of Nursing website. And then effective through the summer of 2025 or the fall admission, we do have the criteria really hasn't changed much other than we are asking some brief short answers / short essay questions of our applicants to, again, learn a little bit more about you, why you've chosen the track you've chosen, what is your experience, and why did you choose Tarleton? And then again, the application process is to use Nursing CAS for applying to the School of Nursing. So some additional requirements for admission is that we do require that you have a Bachelor of Science degree from an accredited nursing program. So programs in the U.S. are either accredited through NLN, the Accrediting Commission, or NLNAC, or CCNE, the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education. Any School of Nursing that is accredited will have that right on the front of their website. You must hold an unencumbered license as a registered nurse in the United States, and you must be eligible for unencumbered licensure in Texas. We have had students who have asked after they've applied. I do have something that is an investigation that is ongoing or that has just recently initiated. As long as the license is not unencumbered, you can enroll into the program. And even once, if something should happen that does encumber the license, it will depend on what the Board of Nursing states as stipulations as to whether or not the program can continue. The beauty of our programs is because they are not clinical programs. In other words, they're not advanced practice nursing, and you're not going to be dealing with medication administration or things of that nature. Usually they will allow the individual to continue that program to completion, but it truly depends on what the issue at hand is and what the stipulations are. And then, of course, you have to have a basic statistics course with a grade of C or better. And some of you can get those at a community college, you can get those on online schools, or you can take that here at Tarleton prior to admission. So we do have 2 degree tracks for the MSN. These are 36 to 39 depending on hours, depending on which route you take, and I'll talk about that on a later slide. Our 2 available tracks right now are Nursing Administration and Nursing Education. Well, I'm very excited to share with you that Nursing Administration just this week, we have been approved to have 2 new concentrations beginning in the fall of 2025. I'll talk about those just a little later as well. And then, of course, we have our Nursing Education, which is for those who decides that education is their passion, and it actually bifurcates whether you want to be an educator in the clinical setting or if you want to be an educator in higher education. We provide the curriculum for both of those. All of our education classes align with the NLN competencies and prepares that graduate to take and sit for the Certified Nurse Educator exam. All of our nursing administration courses align with AONL's competencies for nursing leaders. It is an online format. All of our courses, didactic courses, are delivered online. And then we have 2 practicum semesters where the students are required to do 60 hours each of those courses, face-to-face, in person with a preceptor. And that time is dedicated, like I said, for them to learn, to follow, to ask questions, to implement projects, to assist and really learn what it is that the person that they are working with, what they do on a day-to-day basis in those particular roles that the student is seeking. We do have 2 pathways. One is part-time, one is full-time. You can complete the program in 12 months because our courses are in 8 weeks segments. A full-time person would take 4 classes in each of the 3 semesters to graduate in 12 months, or you can do part-time, which is about 24 months to complete, or I've got students who are doing both. One semester they'll take 2 courses. The next semester, they'll take 1, depending on what life is handing them and what work is handing them. We do offer all of our courses each semester, but that doesn't mean that each course is offered every 8 weeks. Certain courses are only offered first 8 weeks, and other courses are only offered second 8 weeks in those respective semesters. So we have what we think is a very flexible program. We have a sequence that works for our students, and it allows them to work and to go to school at the same time and be successful at both. So these are the examples of the program of study full-time. You can see that both the education and the administration track, those first 8 weeks during those first 2 semesters are what we call the MSN core courses. These are all master's courses in the state of Texas are required, and actually I think across the U.S. even are required for all master's nursing courses. So even if we were in an APRN program or a master's in informatics, these 4 courses, that nursing theory, advanced nursing role development, research, and informatics, you're going to see in all those degree plans. After those two 8-week sessions, everything else divides based on whether you're going into the education track or the administration track. And you can see with the education track, you do have that advanced pharm and patho course and that advanced health assessment. And the thought behind that, as NLN has said, is that if you're going to be a nurse educator, you need to be able to perform at a little bit of a higher level than the students in those key areas of pharm, patho, and health assessment. You can see in the designated by the word clinical in parentheses, those are the courses that you would do your 60 practicum hours, whether that's in your educator role or in your administrator role. The difference between the two is that in the education track, one of those second 8-week practicums is for clinical, meaning at a clinical facility, a clinical site where you are working with an in-house educator. And then the other one, the 5339 educator role, is where you would actually be doing a practicum experience with a higher ed educator. That can be in community college. We prefer that it not be online in an online school because we want the student to have the experience of actually working with students in classes and working with faculty who teach those types of courses. The administrator role 1 and 2, again, sometimes this can be done where you work. We do have some stipulations about that because we don't want students being pulled into work while they're actually doing their practicum experience. And so we'll allow it as long as your preceptor is not someone who is designated as, you're a direct report to that person. Both of these, again, are each of these courses are 60 practicum hours. Those hours are tracked and reported on by the students. And it is important to know that for both of these, the students are required to basically write their own education plan and their objectives. And what we do is that the education student is required to do their plan based on the NLN competencies for nurse educators. And then they work with their preceptor to identify what those outcomes are going to look like for that learning opportunity. The same thing goes for the administration track. We take the AONL competencies, and the students are required to identify their objectives for that part of the program and work with their preceptors to say, here's what I'm going to do to demonstrate that I have met this learning objective and this competency. All of the preceptors, do have set criteria. They must be master's prepared. In your administrator role, you've got a little bit more opportunity because it doesn't have to necessarily be an MSN. So if you are, because we do have some nursing leaders who may have a BSN in nursing, but an MBA or an MHA, but yet they are serving in that nursing leadership capacity that will help that individual learn more about that role. So, but they do have to have a minimum of a master's degree in order to serve as a preceptor. So again, as I touched on, these are the 4 courses. These are core courses. Nursing theory, advanced nursing role development. Advanced nursing role development is really about going from the mentality of that bedside nurse, that hands-on nurse, taking care of patients and doing that role, and advancing it to more of a leadership role, whether that is in education or administration. Nursing informatics talks about all the data that is available to nurses today, to all of healthcare today, and how do we use that information to help improve. And this is really where your data drives your evidence-based practice. And then, of course, nursing research. This is where the students are going to identify opportunities for improvement, whether that's on the education side or if that's on the administration side in a leadership capacity. This, again, are your courses in your MSN administration track. Again, these are offered, each of these courses is offered every semester. So if you are dedicated, I'm going to get this done, you can complete this in 12 months and have your MSN degree. One of the things that we really like about this particular course or this program is that your administrator role and administrator 2, many of our students use that as an opportunity to interview for positions. They choose departments or they choose clinical sites that they may not currently work in. And so they really use this as an opportunity to get into an organization, start learning about it. And then, like I said, it is truly almost like an internship where with those 60 hours for each of these, you learn the organization, they learn you, and it's almost like a job interview for some. Now, here's the exciting thing I'm really stoked about. Just this week, we learned that we have 2 concentrations for the MSN administration track confirmed. Number 1 is nursing management. So what basically, let me back up a bit. What we did was when I first got here, because Tarleton really focuses on the rural communities, and in the College of Health Sciences, we focus on rural healthcare. Is we went out and we surveyed the several rural hospitals in the area and asked where are you having the most trouble recruiting for nursing leaders? And these are the 2 areas: nursing management, meaning nursing managers, nursing directors, team leads, DONs, whatever the title is. And then the other was in quality management. And what we found was that a lot of times the organizations are basically growing their own because it is difficult to recruit from the DFW Metroplex area. In this instance, it was the same where I came from, where you were competing with the Texas Medical Center in Houston, trying to recruit away. So we could not be as competitive, just like most hospitals, with those particular behemoths of healthcare systems. And so we're finding that programs around the rural community of DFW area, they're basically growing their own. And then once they put people in that role, they're encouraging them to go back to school, but it's very difficult once they're in those leadership roles. And so we've decided to integrate both of these into our admin track. And essentially, the core courses are going to be the same. Where the difference lies in these 2, just like we did with nurse educator with NLN and we did with nursing management with AONL, we are taking the quality management concentration and we are aligning it with the AHRQ quality organization. And so that the students, once they come into that program and they choose that concentration, their weekly work assignments will focus on quality management. Those who are in the nursing management, their weekly assignments will focus on nursing management roles. All of this will encompass leadership. All of it will encompass quality improvement, how to use data to impact practice, how to lead, how to manage. Those are 2 very different things. And then your capstones will be specific, or your practicums and your capstone will be specific to your concentration. So for example, if I am in the quality management concentration, then I will have to find a director of quality, a quality management supervisor, whatever the title is, master's prepared, and that is the individual that I will work with during my sessions. If I am in nursing management, it will be a nursing management manager, a DON, a house supervisor, whatever the role is. And that's the way that our program, we're meeting all the competencies, all the requirements expected of those two individual areas, providing leadership, management oversight, patient safety, legal and ethics. All of that information is the same. The difference is going to be in the application of that knowledge and primarily in the practicum experiences. So we're real excited about those. We've already we've identified some key faculty who are experts in both of these areas, and we're really looking forward to having them to prepare these courses for the fall semester when we start these two cohorts. This is your MSN education track. Again, the one thing that's really important is you can see the 5338 and the 5339. One of those is the practical component where you will be in a healthcare facility. You'll be working with a nurse educator. This is one that we find people are usually not as afraid of bedside nurses because they know they're educators, they know what they do. They already have a passion for teaching, whether it's they're precepting or they're mentoring their colleagues and the graduate students, whatever the case might be. It's the educator role that we usually find someone who's a little more hesitant and skeptical of their skill set. But we promise that during these other courses, especially the 5330, 32, and 34, you're going to learn how those same things apply both to the clinical educator role and the educator role. And so you will be in a classroom. We'll put you with a faculty member if you decide to come to Tarleton for it. We'll put you in a practicum in a classroom where your area of specialty is discussed. It may be a guest lecture. It'll be a slide presentation, how to write exam questions, how to develop your curriculum, how to write student learning outcomes. And then all of that encompasses into your nursing education capstone, which really gets you ready. And again, both of these really serve as almost interview types of situations. I can tell you that we have hired 2 of our recent graduates from this MSN program into our school as clinical instructors. They really stood out amongst their peers, and they were both seeking changes from the clinical bedside to an educator role in academia. And so far they've been a great fit, and we're excited to have them onboarded. Plus, when they started, they had already been here for a semester, so they kind of knew the people, they knew the faculty, they knew the staff, and they really understood our sim center, how things worked at clinicals. So it was really kind of a smooth transition for them as well into this new role for them. So there are 2 completion options for the MSN. One is the capstone, and the second is thesis. So I intentionally put a line through the thesis option only because we have had, for the last 4 semesters, no students who chose this option. And I think the reason is that nursing, while the theory is absolutely important in understanding it and continuing to write and promote scholarship through dissemination of knowledge in manuscripts and publications and so forth, what I've seen is that more nurses currently are more prepared to demonstrate competency through their actions versus their writing. And so that's what our nursing education capstone does, is that it just allows the student nurse to demonstrate how they have been able to compile the knowledge, the skills, the attributes that we're looking for in the clinical nurse educator, in the nurse manager, and the academic nurse educator into what they need in order to get to that next step in their career goals. So that's the only reason the line is there through it. If you are a nursing student and you just love to write and you want to do the data analysis, the research, and the literature review, that's what I'm thinking of, and you want to do it the thesis route, we will assign you to a faculty member who has that same area of interest or close enough interest, so that the 2 of you kind of are able to feed off of one another's knowledge and energy and so forth. But that's the only reason the line is through those, is because it's not that we don't offer them. It's just that I have not seen a student choose that option yet because they're just more comfortable in the application process versus the writing process. And so actually we are, if it's not already opened, we are going to be opening it very soon. On our website will be the NursingCast link for graduate students. You will, what happens is once you submit all of your information, NursingCast will notify you of any missing parts. So usually it's the official transcripts that are lacking, but that's required. Your resume, and then of course you're going to want to make sure that you submit an application to Tarleton and to the graduate college. And then what happens is NursingCast regularly sends us updates of those students who have applied. We do have a graduate council, and they look at all applications. And then depending on where you are with the prerequisite requirements and so forth, usually an offer is extended for a particular semester, depending on when you apply for and how many incoming students we have, because we do look at our resources. We like our low student to patient ratio, student to faculty ratios, because we feel like you get a better education experience from that. But you are notified from the school that you have been accepted. The graduate college would then notify you that you have been accepted into the graduate college, and then the advisor will contact you, provide you with a program of study. You determine if you want full-time or part-time. You'll be given both options. And then once you get that program of study is what you will use every semester throughout your program, unless something happens that it changes for whatever reason. Again, life happens. Sometimes we have to drop a class. Sometimes we need to sit out a semester. It is what it is. We expect that. And then you would begin in that next semester. If you need to delay, that's fine. If you have a course, a prerequisite course that's incomplete at the time of your application, we can always do a deferred admission, meaning that once you have completed that course and it meets the grade requirement and you have submitted it to NursingCast, then you would automatically be accepted in the next cohort of incoming students. So again, we are accredited by the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education, or CCNE. The program in its entirety and our undergraduate program both are accredited through CCNE, and our master's program was reaccredited in 2023, I think it was. And then what will happen is that they look at our student learning outcomes. Every 5 years, we have to submit what's called a mid-year report, or CIPR. And we just talk about what our student outcomes look like, how our students are doing, what our students, are they employed when they've left us, what type of employment, how do they do on their grades, or any of them sitting for the certification exams. We really want to encourage our students to, once they've got this education and the experience required, is to look at AONL and look at that certified nurse manager certification exam, and look at that C&E exam once they complete the program. But all of our programs are accredited through CCNE, which is very important, and we're very proud of that. And that's the end of the formal presentation. I am open to taking any questions.
All right, thank you so much. It was so helpful to hear you go through that. For our live audience members, if you have questions of your own, we invite you to submit them now using the Q&A box or the chat box, and we'll get those handled. In the meantime, I do have some questions of my own for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You had mentioned that new students start this program in the fall and spring semesters only. Is there any summer enrollment?
At this time, there is no summer enrollment, and the reason for that is we are in the midst of revamping our curriculum. The CCNE established what's called the new essentials in 2021, and all schools are required to have those implemented by 2026. And so with those new essentials for learning, basically it changes some of our curriculum. And so with that, we've decided not to enroll in the summer, only until we make the determination that we are ready with the new curriculum, and that we have a smooth rollout of that, which will be fall of 2026.
Okay. So even without any summer coursework, students are still on track will finish in 12 months.
No, there is summer coursework. If they want to go full time, there is summer coursework, but we just don't enroll a cohort during the summer.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yes, it is a year-round program.
Year-round program. Okay.
Yes,
If the summer terms would not be your first.
correct. That is correct.
Okay. And so with the 8-week courses, does that mean that someone could start brand new in the middle of a fall or spring semester?
We have allowed students to do that. The only caveat to it is that it will change the program of study and the sequence of their courses, because we do have some courses that are prerequisites for others. And so if you start in the middle of a semester, we're not going to let you take, for example, a practicum course before you've taken nursing theory or informatics or one of those core, completed those 4 core courses. Those are just imperative. But yes, we do have students who start the second 8 weeks.
Okay, very nice. Well, and let's back up and talk about the benefits of an MSN. Why should someone who's already out practicing consider returning to school for this advanced degree?
So that's a great question. I think a lot of the times it's, I'm going to take myself, for example. I started out as a CNA, became an associate degree RN, and then went on to my bachelor's. I knew that I wanted to go into nursing leadership. I knew that early on. And so in order to do that, I knew I needed a master's degree. That was it. Some people want to, what I've seen, especially since COVID, is that we've got people who are just seeking avenues to step away from the bedside. They're tired, exhausted. They have worked their fingers to the bones. And one of the best ways to open those doors to those positions that move away from the bedside is with an advanced degree, because that separates many employees from one another. What it really recognizes is that you have a dedication to lifelong learning, that you're seeking that opportunity. And many times when when employers are looking at students, I know I did this when I was in the hiring position. If I had 2 qualified applicants for a role that didn't have a master's degree required, but it was preferred, that master's degree student 9 out of 10 times won out on that interview for that position, because they demonstrated that they wanted more, they were reaching out for more, they were doing more, and it leads you to believe that with that drive is going to be a better employee and a better leader.
Thank you for that. Well, it's interesting you started as an associate's degree RN. So for someone in that situation who would want to do the MSN, how would you advise them? Because they technically don't meet the requirements. Is that accurate to say for Tarleton's program?
That is correct. You will find some programs available that are RN to MSN. And we've looked at doing that as well. And I just think that because there is such a push for doctoral education, that instead of going RN to MSN, we're going to look at more along the lines of BSN to doctoral degrees. And so we strongly encourage those associate degree nurses, which is what I did, to go RN to BSN, get that experience, get that additional education, get that knowledge under your belt. Remember what it's like to be a student, because it's ever changing. And then decide, where do you want your master's degree? One of the things that I really liked about my undergraduate experience is that where I got my advanced degrees was not where I got my associate degree, but it was where I got my BSN, because I went to an RN to BSN program. And I just felt more of a commonality with that school and with those faculty, that I felt like I was going to get a better education there when I was going for advanced degrees. So I used it almost as a testing spot, a litmus test for me. And then if because like I said, I could have gone back to where I got my associate degree to get those advanced degrees, but I chose not to, just because it wasn't a bad experience. It just wasn't the best experience that I had. So getting that master's, we do require a BSN degree for that to happen.
Thank you for that. So you mentioned starting for fall 25 enrollment, the first step will be completing that nursing CAS
Nursing CAS, correct.
Yeah. So how would someone access that application?
So if and again, I don't know if it's live yet. I haven't checked this week. But if you go to our School of Nursing website under graduate programs, there will be a button at the bottom that says apply here at Nursing CAS, and you will start that process. It goes to the Nursing CAS webpage, and then you will start that process, and it literally walks the student step by step of everything that they need to submit. The longest wait time, of course, is for your transcripts because you're depending on where you got those other degrees from to submit those to Nursing CAS on your behalf. And what my recommendation to you is that when you request those, that you also request them for Tarleton at the same time, because the two don't always meet in the middle. And so if you're applying to graduate school at Tarleton, it's always good to have those official transcripts in your file with Tarleton as well as with Nursing CAS.
And so should someone wait until their decision regarding the nursing pass before they submit their Tarleton graduate?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's the chicken or the egg, whichever comes first. If you think there's going to be an issue with you getting into Tarleton to the graduate program, I would apply there first. With Nursing CAS, we are keeping an open enrollment period, so there's not a hard deadline for applications. So what I like about that is that if I decide I think I want to go to get my MSN at Tarleton, I can start my application today, and because you don't have to do it all in one sitting, I can do it in bits and pieces. And then when I realize that something just happened at work, or somebody in the family just had a baby, was diagnosed with something. You can always put it off, but you don't have to start the process over again. And so your information is maintained in there, and you can then resume later and start in the spring, or you could start fall of 26.
And is there a separate application fee for the nursing CAS?
Yes, Nursing CAS does have a separate fee. However, if you look on their website, there is a way to get those waived. There are grants available that many organizations will put out there for students, and that is an option. And then the other thing is that there are times when we, as a School of Nursing, purchase waivers, and we may offer those if we do a live session about Nursing CAS. We'll offer those as door prizes, or we'll have 5 of them, and if 5 students attend, they each get a waiver. So yeah, there is a fee for that as in addition to the fee for the graduate school. Now, the nursing school we've waived our fee in lieu of the Nursing CAS fee, so it's different.
And so for anyone who's interested, if you go to the College of Graduate Studies website, you're going to see the Apply Now button, which takes you directly to the College of Grad Studies application. And it's $50 to apply for the College of Graduate Studies, and then you can simultaneously do your nursing CAS application as well if you'd like to go ahead and get that taken care of. This is a fully online program, and I know for many people, they don't have a concept of what it means to be a fully online student. So can you talk a little bit about how the program is actually executed online?
Sure. So we use Canvas as our learning management system. All your classes are on your didactic courses are online. A lot of it is you're bringing your knowledge. It's not that you're self-teaching, but you are bringing your knowledge and your experience to the classroom setting. The classroom is asynchronous. We do have some faculty who do offer some synchronous sessions. They're all virtual. But I know when I have a class, the first week of school, I offer an 8 p.m. a live orientation session for us to go over the class, to look at the modules, look at the learning outcomes, and for the students to ask questions. Everything is handled through the online course, and everything is asynchronous for the most part, unless a faculty member requests it or if a student requests it. What I love about the online platform or the learning system is that you can work the night shift, the day shift, only weekends, Monday through Friday. It doesn't matter. As long as you're able to meet the deadlines for when assignments are due, you're able to work around your schedule, your family's schedule. That's one of the we have to meet students where they are, and that is the reality of where nurses are today. We're working all kinds of 12-hour shifts. You're working Monday, Wednesday, then Thursday, then the next weekend you're working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever the case might be. And so this allows you to really schedule your time. There are no exams in the graduate program, so it's not like you have to make time to sit for an exam. Even your practicum courses, they are scheduled at your and your preceptors aligned dates and times. So we don't tell you as the faculty that you have to get your 60 hours in the first week, which is not feasible anyway. But if your preceptor happens to do weekends, you would do weekends with your preceptor. If your preceptor works the night shift, you may be doing nights with your preceptor. So you got to be kind of cognizant of who you're asking to be your preceptor, but it's that flexibility of the program that really I think students enjoy the most and they get the most out of, because yes, it is additional work. Yes, an 8 weeks. I come from a 16-week education experience. 8 weeks is it's work. It's not light, because you figure that for each 3-hour course, you're supposed to put in about 9 hours of work per week on that course. So if you're taking 2 courses every 8 weeks, you're talking about 18 hours a week of study, reading, answering discussion board questions, doing written assignments, all of those kinds of things. So it's not easy. It's definitely going to test you. And it's also going to test you as an independent individual, because you're not being forced to drive to class, to sit in a classroom, in a desk with the teacher in front of you lecturing. It is at a, it is being self-taught, but your education is being facilitated by a very experienced leader, both in the professional setting and the academic setting. So those 8 weeks they roll by very quickly. Once you get behind, it's very difficult to catch up. So I've seen students who really think they're going to do full time in that first semester. They come back and say, okay, I did the first 8 weeks. I got through those 2 classes. That's not going to work for me in my life. And then they back off to 1 class per 8 weeks, or, whatever the situation might be. Maybe it's 1 class a semester. But we're very flexible with the schedule, with how the students get through the program. We are here to support them and make sure that they're successful.
So you do have to be a self-directed person, but the good news is the format allows you flexibility to fit it in however you're.
Absolutely. Yes.
What
Flexibility is key.
it is. When you say asynchronous, what does that mean for people who may not be familiar?
Oh, that means that so I am a morning person. So I could be in my classroom doing my work at 6 a.m. in the morning. You are a night shift person and you do your best stuff at 10 o'clock at night. We're both in the same class. We're both posting the same assignments, the same discussion boards. I'm doing it at 6 a.m. and you're doing it at 10 p.m., but we're still part of the same class. And the facilitator, the educator, the faculty is in there in between, talking to both of us and asking us questions, and causing, other students are asking us questions. So asynchronous just basically means that there is no, unless the faculty offers it, requires it, which is not usually the case. It is virtual. It is at your schedule. The only pace difference is that there are assignment deadline dates. But yeah, they're like I said, I don't even make my orientation required. When I say it's synchronous, at 8 o'clock at night, the second night of the semester, I log into a Zoom or a Teams meeting and turn on my camera and if a student wants to come in there, we will cover the information for that semester. If not, it's not a, it's no big deal.
Thank you for that. And for those who may not have heard, Canvas is the learning management system that is used at Tarleton State University. All right, we've got some audience questions here. Someone says she's worked she's worked in senior management at a major insurance company for over 10 years. How can her previous and current leadership experience impact her coursework?
Great question. So when I went to get mine, my degree, my master's degree, I had been a nurse leader for about 4 years. And what I found is that some of the assignments were easier for me. Some of the discussion boards were easier for me because I was able to relate the topic to something that had really happened to me, my personal and professional experiences. So I think what you find is that we don't offer any work credits, but I think what you find is there are going to be some areas that you're just going to excel in, and you're going to find the work, I don't want to say tedious or too easy, because we are trying to challenge you to think at a higher level, but you've got that experience that's going to make some of this just a breeze. And then at the same time, we're gonna put something in front of you that you'll be like, I especially find that in the finance course. A lot of our nurses, I don't want to say they struggle with they don't struggle in passing, they struggle with the concept that healthcare is a business. So, nurses are not used to that. And so when you start talking about budget and you start talking about capital dollars and operational dollars and, how to set up a nursing schedule so that you're meeting the needs of the patient, but you're not overworking your FTEs. And nurses do kind of get cross-eyed. And I think that's probably the most trying course. That one and the quality improvement course, I think, are the two that nurses, if they don't have any experience, they struggle with the most. But if they do have experience, they're seen as the leaders of those particular courses, and they usually breeze through those. So your experience will bring so much, especially to the younger learner. And younger, I don't mean by age, I mean by that learner who may be 1 or 2 years out of school, and you've been, like you said, 10 years in senior management. You're going to be able to share things with these students that the book can't, or that the reading material can't. You're going to be able to share true life experiences and how to apply those theories and those concepts to real life situations.
How accessible are the faculty to students, and how much interaction do the students have with each other?
Well, it truly depends on the course. Our faculty are, we usually hold them to an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday type of schedule. But I can tell you that our faculty work nights, our faculty work weekends. I, in particular, when I have my class, I ask the student, what is convenient for your schedule? Because if I have a student who's working 8 to 5 in a clinic, I can't expect them to take 30 minutes to do a one-to-one virtual meeting during their workday. And so I'm fine taking a meeting after 8 o'clock at night. If that's, you put the kids to bed and you've done your reading and now you've got time to talk. All the faculty will log in on the weekends. We do say that we allow faculty 48 business hours to respond, but we've seen that 99% of our faculty are doing nights, weekends, checking on the courses, responding to students' posts, responding to students' emails, because it's the passion, it's what we do, and that's it's just how it is. We just do. And then always the faculty is available to schedule office hours for any student who requests.
Fantastic. So someone's asking how much experience is needed before applying.
We do not have an experience prerequisite. And I think that the good thing about the reason that is because our coursework really is at the level of I am a bedside clinician, I am a provider, and I'm ready to take that next step. In the past, you do have people who are executives, like this other person who's been in senior management, who just need the master's degree to get to either their job is requiring it or they're ready to get elevated to that next level. That's not to say that the information that we're going to offer is not valuable to both types of individuals. Again, what I've seen is that the individuals with more experience really do take a lead in the courses. They're still learning new information, but they're also bringing those newer nurses up to a level that again, textbook reading or reading articles is just not going to do. So we don't require any experience. It's helpful because, like I said, it'll make application of the material that you're learning, the theories, the concepts, more realistic. But at the same time, I think that we fill that gap with our knowledge as not only academics, but also as being professionals in those roles. And then again, with your senior students.
Fantastic. Someone's asking about costs, and we always say that for Texas resident graduate students, currently you can expect to pay about $1,300 per 3-hour course. So that'll give you a little estimate. This program is 36 to 39 credit hours, correct?
Yes. And I will tell you that we have money, scholarships, specifically for the graduate programs that we are not able to give away because we have graduate students who don't think to apply for the scholarships. And so we have, just literally hundreds and hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars available that we cannot distribute because we don't have applicants for the position for the scholarships.
Well, that is unfortunate, but there's an easy fix to that.
That's it. That's it.
You should be completing the Tarleton General Scholarship application form. It's one form that'll allow you to be considered for any graduate student scholarship that Tarleton offers. And so if you're meeting the terms,
that's right.
You will get in the pool and you can get some money. So that is very encouraging and exciting to hear that there's additional outside help to fund your education. So this has been wonderful, Dr. Lejay. Thank you so much. And welcome to Tarleton. We're excited to see how our School of Nursing thrives under your leadership.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
To come for the program. I did want to ask, you mentioned that you're contemplating adding some additional essay questions in the future.
There are three questions that are on this new application that's new.
Okay.
Not additional, just three. It's why Tarleton, why nursing, and essentially what is your plan? Why do you want to earn a master's degree? It's those. We just want to see where the student is coming from and where we can meet them for their needs, for their educational needs.
Yes. And are those in the nursing CAS application?
Yes, they are.
All right.
They are. Okay. Also, just to let students know, the graduate program itself is going to be housed at our Fort Worth campus. Not that makes a difference with this being an online program, but we always have, every semester we have a student or two who wants to meet with their faculty face-to-face in person. It's a little more difficult being in Stephenville, but we do have now the opportunity for some of our graduate faculty to have space in the Fort Worth campus, and we're going to be moving there. The other thing is that we are going to be changing our curriculum starting in the 26, because we are planning to initiate a DNP in nursing, a Doctor of Nursing practice in nursing education. Hopefully in 26, maybe in 27. We're just waiting on the coordinating board to make some decisions. But with that, the practicum hours are going to be shifting a little bit. That will allow someone to seamlessly go between their master's in nursing into a doctorate of nursing at Tarleton.
Exciting.
Yes, very exciting.
Wait for that to roll out. Very good. Well, thank you so much for your time, and to our live audience members, thank you for your time and your good questions. A recording of this presentation is going to be available very shortly on the College of Graduate Studies YouTube channel. And if you know of others who might be interested in joining us and benefiting from our MSN program, we hope that you will share this with your friends and colleagues who could use that opportunity as well. So I think with that, we can end our webinar. Thank you so much to all.
Thank you all.